Hey guys, it's 941 Garage. Welcome back to another video. This is going to be part 4 of the custom single turbo build. So it has been over a week since the build has been complete. The car has been running surprisingly really well on an OTS map. The only issues I had was the O2 sensors. The second O2 sensor was going out, so I replaced them with brand new NTK sensors. Hopefully those last for a good amount of miles. As you can see, we got some goodies. We got our Reflex Plus, we got our ethanol sensor, harness, and some upgraded fuel lines. And we got our port injection from BMP with 750cc injectors. So what this Reflex Plus module will help us do, it will control our port injection. It will allow us to run flex fuel. I'm gonna get a flex fuel tune. It's also gonna control our boost, and it does a lot more things, but that's just the gist of it. So in this video, I'll just be installing all these parts and get as much detail for you guys. I'm gonna tear down all these parts, get everything out of the way so I can install my port injection as well as the ethanol sensor. Once I get all that else installed, then I can go ahead and mess with the Reflex module. I'm not gonna take a video of how I'm removing all this because there's a bunch of videos out there. So while I'm at it, I decided to do some walnut blasting. You guys can look up how to do it. There's a lot of videos on this. But this piece, I picked it from eBay. It's 3D printed, so it's pretty cheap. And that's how it should look, nice and clean. All right, I finished up all my intake ports. All right, guys, I got the port injection plate on. As you can see, everything is nice and flush. All the O-rings are on. And I also just put the harness on just to show you how it's gonna be, just like that. And then you get your fuel line that goes down there, and then goes up right into there. And then we're gonna use the upgraded fuel hose that we bought from the ethanol sensor. And it's just gonna also plug into there, and then into the ethanol sensor, and then back into the main line. So once we take that plate off right there, this is the main fuel line. Just gonna pop it off. And then we're gonna take this line off, and we're not gonna need it anymore. There it is. This is the old line. We're not gonna be needing this anymore. And our sensor, then our 2 brand new lines, and our fitting that I'm quickly just gonna put together and show you guys how it fits up in the car. All right, got everything plugged in. This is how it looks like. And it goes back around here. Up there, there's a sensor that feeds all the way back into that goes up there and feeds right into here, into the main line, and then into the port injection side too. So there it is. Back together, put the intake manifold back together, and I don't know if you guys can see, but there's the rail. It's back there. Everything is nice and neat. Everything fit up perfect. I do have a secondary fuel pump already installed, as you can see right there. Just got to run wires to those leads, and we're good to go. And just real quick, for my fuel pump setup, to activate the secondary fuel pump, I already have my relay right here and my fuse. I was already using this setup for a meth kit. Anyways, the ground, which is gonna be this wire, is gonna run to the Reflex, to one of the gray or white colored switch. And then the 30 amp power, which is this yellow, that runs that wire over there, is gonna go to the fuel pump, to the positive side of the fuel pump, and then I have to ground the fuel pump. So this is the Reflex harness, and the relay ground is gonna run to one of these. Either one should work. Okay, so I got the 30 amp side of the relay hooked up to the fuel pump, and then I have a ground, which is the negative side of the fuel pump, going into here. And then from here, I have the negative side of the relay going up front to the reflex. So this is the negative side of the relay that's going to be going into the reflex. So just a quick demonstration, the ignition is on. So if I were to touch this anywhere on the ground, the fuel pump should activate. I don't know if you guys can hear that. That's the fuel pump. So we know that the wiring and everything's correct and the fuel pump's gonna work. Got the ignition off. So if the ignition is off, the relay should be off. So if I were to touch it anywhere on the ground, the fuel pump should not run. So that's if you know if the relay is working correctly. Okay, so as you can see, I already got almost all of the Reflex harness wires already tapped into my DME wires. I didn't really make a video on how to do this because, I mean, you can just go to the website and you can get all the information there. It's pretty simple. And there's also a few videos out there that you guys can look up. So for my fuel pump activation, there's these two auxiliary wires that are used to trigger on an on and off switch. So the white is auxiliary 1 and the gray is auxiliary 2. So for the fuel pump, I'm going to use the white one. And for my boost solenoid, I'm going to use this gray one. Okay, so I got the fuel pump side wired up, and now for my max solenoid. So just in basic terms, one black wire, doesn't matter which one, is gonna go to this gray wire. And then the other black wire is gonna go to a 12-volt power switch. So if the car's off, the switch is gonna be off. But once you turn the car on, then that wire is gonna be powered. And then it's gonna be controlled by this gray wire through the reflex. Okay, so one of the wires I just have to extend real quick. It's right here, I just soldered it. Usually when I extend wires, I like to solder them and put a heat shrink right over them. And then that's already connected. And now we need to connect the other boost solenoid wire to a 12-volt power switch. Okay, so for the 12-volt switch to run to the max solenoid, I'm probably just gonna use one of these wires that are running from the Reflex harness. See, like there's one right here. I can just tap into this wire for a 12-volt switch, or let me see, there should be another one. See, like this wire or this wire. I can tap into any of those to get that 12-volt switch on ignition. Okay, so there it is. You got to tap into the 12-volt switch. I'm thinking this is how it's done. If it's not, then, you know, we'll have to do it differently. Maybe get a 12-volt power switch somewhere from the car, but I'm thinking this should work fine, because I'm not going to be using this plug anyways. I just need this wire for the 12-volt switch. So I got everything connected, everything wired up, got the Reflex plugged in. So the first things we need to do is go to our computer and open up the Motive firmware bootloader. Just open that up. Okay, once we got that up, we need to plug in the Reflex. After you connect your micro USB into the Reflex and then into the computer, now we need to turn the ignition switch on. Don't turn the car on, just turn the ignition switch on. Okay, as you can see, it's connected right here on the bottom right. Now what we need to do is we need to find our program file that you get from the Reflex website. So if we go to our desktop, it's right here. And you just open it. Okay, it's opened, and then we need to click to program it. So as you can see, it's programming. Now, as you can see, it's finished. So simply we just unplug it and then we turn the ignition switch off for 30 seconds. Okay, so open up Tuner Pro RT. So we're gonna have to upload our bin file, which is gonna be from our tuner. And what we have to do first is go to Tools, Preferences, and make sure, go to Data Acquisition Emulation, and go to Config, Plugin Component. Make sure the port type is shared with emulator. So, okay. Okay, so then we take our file that we got from our tuner, which is right here, and then we just drag it right here. Okay, so then we grab our XDF file that you download from Reflex. Just drag it up to here. And then we press connect. You should hear a beep, which is how it's supposed to be. And then we press upload current bin to emulator. So it said upload success down there. So we're all finished. And now we need to upload our base map from our tuner using MHD. Okay, once we got everything uploaded, we can go ahead and start the car. So okay guys, I did have a few issues. I accidentally forgot to plug in my camp position sensor. I guess it's a little sensor down there. I guess when I was working with the manifold and then starting the point injection, the plug accidentally came out. So we got that fixed. And everything is already uploaded on Reflex. Already have the tune uploaded. I'll just give it one more start. So we got a monitor. Okay. Yeah, I don't know how that stuff happened. It didn't do it before, but seems to be running all right. This is the base map, the flex fuel base map. As you can see, I got E40 in the tank. Well, I let the car run for about 5 minutes and kind of, gave it some light taps on the gas pedal. Let's check the codes. Okay, no codes. We're good to go. Now I'm gonna tuck all this into the DME box. With these stock boost solenoids, I don't know, my tuner said I can just leave them out, so I'm just gonna disconnect them. I don't know, it might throw a code, but hopefully it doesn't throw me into limp mode, but he said I can leave those out.